Holy shit, I'm really super late on this review. More like 20 years late. Okay, so Donkey Kong Country. So Donkey Kong Country is a game developed by Rare for the Super Nintendo and was released in 1994. And it's kind of ironic because a company named Rare rarely puts out any great games. That was kind of stupid. And yeah, 1994, that was 20 years ago. It just so happens to be the 20th anniversary of this game. Or at least a couple weeks ago it was. To if not one of the greatest platforms or even video games ever made. And it was back in the time where video games didn't have a super descriptive story. Well, maybe a backstory to it, but not too much of it. It's you get the game, you play it, and then have your brain fried after hours upon hours of playing in one sitting. I did that as a child, and I don't regret a damn thing when it comes to Donkey Kong Country. And the backstory to this game is this real bad reptilian dude named King K. Rool. He comes to Donkey Kong Island or Kong Isle, whichever you prefer, and he takes the banana stash from Donkey Kong and rules over this island. So now DK and his sidekick Diddy Kong have to stop this bad guy by going through this entire island terrain and getting their stash back. And they're all like, it's on like Donkey Kong. Puns, I tell you. And there you go! Boom! Simple story. I'm sure the creators from Nintendo, they're like, this isn't the most interesting story that we have come up with so far, so let's make it up to the people by making it into a super awesome platformer. And they do! Every aspect of Donkey Kong Country really shows. You have two characters to play from, and that is Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong. DK is more of a brute force, he takes on the bigger enemies, while Diddy Kong, he's more agility and he jumps higher. They're like the Super Mario Brothers, but in monkey form. And even though the game is short, there's like 40 levels altogether, something like that. I don't really know the exact number. You have different stages of the game. You have the jungle, the mining area, and the snow region, which is kind of weird and makes absolutely no sense when you think about it, but you roll with it. You will get from point A to point B, and sounds simple, right? But in actually beating them, you have to go through a huge terrain of brutal obstacles. They're bad for me. I'll see people on YouTube do speed runs through the entire game. It'll take them like 30 minutes, and I'm like, what? Really? It's like, why can't I do that? I spent weeks trying to beat this game in my childhood. These obstacles in the game, they're just so frustrating, I swear to God. It's one of those games where the only time you can make it past something is if you time something perfectly. Oh, you're a little early on jumping? Yeah, your punishment is death. Yeah, the game is a dick like that. Like one level in the game, you get on this floating bouncing tire and you have to jump to another floating bouncing tire. Beneath you is absolute nothingness. If you fall down, you're dead. But you have a set of 4 Bs going like this, blocking your way, followed by another set of 4 Bs going like this and blocking your way. I'm like, shit, I have to clear that. Here goes nothing. And in this game, if it touches you on the shoulder, you're dead. It doesn't even give you a chance. I remember playing and sometimes it would stall on me and I'm like, oh, come on, I push jump. That was me, my older brother, and my dad way back in the day. Had trouble with that and the stupid minecart levels. They're fun, mind you, but they're so challenging. This game requires perfect timing or no timing at all. And if you don't have timing, you're dead. Simple as that. The bosses in Donkey Kong Country, they aren't too bad. They're actually really easy to beat. They do the classic formula of beating a boss. You step on its head 3 times, you win, and you move on to the next stage. I think it's more difficult actually getting to the boss than beating him, because since Nintendo drove kids to insanity, they're nice enough to say, hey, let's make this kid feel good about himself for once. Thanks, Nintendo, because I remember not having too much trouble with the bosses, but have 50 million of my hairs pulled out at the same time. But the thing I love most about this game is the soundtrack. Oh my goodness, it's freaking good. Like, you're in a certain setting, like the underwater levels, and the music that's playing, it totally fits. It makes you feel like you're underwater with Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong. And not just the underwater level, but the entire game. Props to a Super Nintendo game for doing that. If you guys are having a hard time sleeping at night, do yourselves a favor, look up the underwater theme in Donkey Kong Country, and it will put your mind to zen. You will fall right to sleep, I promise. Game's 20 years old, but it still does that for me. So Donkey Kong Country is one of the most entertaining platformers ever in the history of man. The obstacles are hard and frustrating, but it's one of those games you learn as you go. But hey, I love me a good challenge though. The bosses were easy and the soundtrack is still awesome to this day. I would catch myself listening to it in my car. If you guys ever told me to give you a top 5 video games of all time, Donkey Kong Country will definitely be up there, because even after 20 years, Donkey Kong Country is still legendary, so light up those fireworks. Pew 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 pew, oh look at the fireworks. If you guys somehow have the game, play it. It's freaking awesome. Have you guys played Donkey Kong Country? What do you think about it, and what is your favorite level? Leave a comment below. And as always, you can keep in contact with me through Facebook and Twitter, but in the meantime, I have to get going.